Bonjour, everyone. Hi, this is Neshi Lokotz. Welcome to the Spiritual Roundtable. This is my weekly afternoon live stream, and we are going to be using the decks of cards that I've been using for the last few months, to be able to start a spiritual conversation. And really, it's all about the message that's coming from Spirit, from my spiritual team, when I drew the cards this morning. And so it always is the spark, the spark for that spiritual conversation. So, hi, everybody. Hello to those that are in the Facebook live chat. Thank you so much for being here with me. Gosh, my hair's sticking up. For being here with me in the live chat, and also those that are with me through the YouTube live chat. Thank you so much for taking time in your day to be a part of the live stream. So, today is Wednesday, September 9th. And it's been busy around here. Busy around Star Nations, because we are on the precipice. We're on the edge of being able to publish the Star Nations September issue of the magazine, and so that always keeps me busy this time of the month. So, yay! It's an exciting. I love publishing day. I do. So today we're actually have two cards from two different decks. This is the first time this has ever happened in the almost 3 years that we've been doing this together. These are the two books that I have been using in the last few weeks. And so this morning, when I was getting ready to draw the cards, I was asking, so which deck am I using today? And it was like, both. Okay, that's new. And so the first card comes out of the Sacred Spirit Reading Cards by Anna Stark. And the second card comes out of this deck, which is Angels and Ancestors by Kyle Gray. Okay, so we have two cards from two different decks that are going to be giving us the information that we need for our highest good, right? So, hey, Rochelle's here. Hi, Rochelle. Good to have you here, lady. It's always good to see you in the house. I have to show you something. I have to show you this. It's a huge scarf. I received a gift through the mail from Natalie, and if you're watching, Natalie, thank you so much. And she had the gift. It was so well packaged. It took me a little while to get into it. And I know why she did, because she didn't want it to break, right? And so the gift was actually also wrapped in this beautiful scarf. And I love the colors in it. I do. And so I thought, I'm going to wear the scarf on the show. Now, I haven't worn a scarf like this. Back in the 80s, this was the big thing to do. So I don't know. I have no idea if it's even a style anymore to do scarves like this. But I thought, I'm going to do it. I'm going to wear the scarf, and because it's so pretty. I like the colors. So, thank you so much, Rochelle, for grounding and sharing the live stream. Thank you so much for that. I already have, believe it or not. I liked it. I liked my own live stream. And I'm also sending it over to my news feed, just so that, just a reminder of my friends to join me. And we'll do that now. And the groups, I already did those, sent it over there. And so the reason why we even do this is because it helps us to be in the live news feed much more often. And also we're having to share the conversation, right? And so this is the other thing I do. I do send it to a couple of people that I had promised that I would, and whenever I'm live streaming. And Violet is one of those people, and we're going to have to do that. Yeah, there we go. Good. It's done. There. Now I'm wondering, Facebook keeps changing things. So I'm wondering if I can use the share from the other direction. Send in Messenger. Maybe, because it looks different. There we go. I don't know why it does that, but it does. Just trying to keep track of them over there, Facebook. All right, good. Thank you for letting me take the moment to do that. Here we go. Yay. Excellent. All right. Hey, Rochelle, Ashley's here. Yay. Bonjour to you too. Hello from Colorado. It's a snow day, 33 degrees, 5 inches. Oh my goodness. It's crazy driving. Holy smokes, lady. Between the fires and the snow. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. You guys certainly are having some interesting weather out there, huh? I wonder, when I saw so many people posting, out west about, of course, the fires and then the snow, the drop in temperatures, how one is related to the other, right? Because everything is interconnected, right? And so, yeah, keeping you guys in my prayers and my thoughts with with fire and then with the weather on top of it. Although I guess the falling temperatures, it being colder and the wind dies down, that has to be easier for the firefighters, right? Yeah. Okay. So, hey, and Michelle is here too. Hello, Michelle. Good to have you here. And look at this lady's here. Hello, Lisa. Good to have you. Always good to see you in the house. And Violet's here too. Hello, Violet. Say, listen, Violet, I wanted to share with you that Mom is using the eczema stuff that you sent, and it is helping her, especially the itchy part. So thank you so much for doing that and creating something like that through your business, what is Violet's Herbal Organics. And yeah, so it's doing really well for her. So thank you so much. I don't have any news for you for the paw salve for Georgie yet, but we'll get there. Hey, Karen. Hello, Karen. Restful rainy day. Oh yeah. Yeah. It's been raining here since last night. Yesterday, our high was 47 degrees. It's like, how we're pretty cold and it's damp. So I know what you mean. It's a good day to stay inside and be warm, right? You guys ready for a spiritual conversation? Yeah. Okay. Let's get started. The first card comes out of this book, out of this deck, the Sacred Spirit Reading Cards deck by Anna Stark. We're actually using 2 different decks today. Now, we've never done that before, have we? This is the first card. Oh, wait, let me turn down my light on my laptop so it doesn't get it doesn't glare as much. There we go. That's better. It's meditation, number 27 in the deck. Improvements require persistence. Improvements require assistance. It's about meditation. Yeah. I know meditation can be a challenge for quite a few people, right? Sometimes it's that busy mind, right, that it's hard to turn it off or to quiet it. And then for some people, it's just carving out that time during your day to do a meditation, because maybe your life is just so busy, and you're trying to fit so much in, and then fitting in meditation on top of it, sometimes it's difficult, right? Now, I would like to say I meditate every day, but I don't. I meditate probably out of 7 days. I probably meditate maybe 4 or 5 days, something like that. And some of those meditations are maybe 5 minutes, 10 minutes at the most sometimes. Other times I can actually do a 20-minute or 30-minute meditation. These days it's getting easier because, as you guys know, I'm dealing with some leg pain issues. And so some of it kind of reminds me of sciatica. And so I started doing stretches for that. So within those stretches, because I have to hold that stretch for a good period of time, I'm fitting my meditation in while I'm doing my stretches. So it's a little bit easier. It's kind of like doing yoga at the same time. So my meditation time has gotten a little bit easier. Have you carved out time during your day to meditate? That's a good question, because here's the intention that I do for every card draw for this group. And that is, I'm calling in my full spiritual team, right? And I'm asking them to please show me the energy that's flowing this week that's important for us to know about, to help us with our spiritual growth, to help us working on our soul contract, and also in remembering our joy. Okay, because in the time frame, the energy in which we live these days, um, it's important, I think, to have extra help to remind us about our soul purpose, right? And also to remember that life is meant to be joyful. So that is the intention of the card draw. So when we get a card like this, meditation, right? Improvements require persistence, you know? And so, I just love that color blue on here. But, when I was looking at this, I think meditation can certainly also help us with our balance, right? The balancing of the sacred male and female. It helps us to quiet our minds. But, there's also many, many ways to be able to meditate. In the old days, do you remember back in the 70s and 80s? It was transcendental meditation where you literally had to be in that quiet space, right? You had to sit in a certain way. Yeah, it was difficult for a lot of people to do that. But these days, meditation can include movement, right? It can be while you're doing yoga. It can be while you are doing your stretches. It can be, I'm going to be picking up Tai Chi again. I haven't done Tai Chi in a really long time. But I was watching a video yesterday afternoon while I was working on the magazine. They were talking about Tai Chi and for beginners, right? And I thought, oh man, it's been probably a good 12 years since I've done Tai Chi. And so I'm going to pick that up again. So when you're doing your meditation, it can be any form. It can be in movement. You can meditate while you're walking, right? It's more important that we actually fit in that quiet time if you can do it without electronics, right? Without electronics. So it doesn't, you're not involved in the radiation and the energies coming from an electronic device. So, as I know, as much as it can be helpful to watch a video, right, to do with the video, or to have your earbuds in and listen to music, if you can all do it, it's much better for you to do it without the electronic device. And it also gives us a break from it too, right? I know, a break from our phones. Oh my gosh, Barbara's in the house. Hi there, lady. It's good to have you here. It's getting more difficult, I know. And it's that for a lot of us, it's that time frame, right? The time, taking the time to be able to do the meditation. Yeah, I can remember way back when. Let's see, it would have been in the early 2000s. I used to be able to do meditations for like 30 minutes, 60 minutes, but that was a whole different lifestyle then too than what I have right now. And Violet said, "I'm glad that it's helping her. It's hard to be irritated." Yeah, well, she has other pains that are involved too with her arthritis and that sort of thing, and to have this on top of it, right? So she is finding some relief from it. So thank you so much for developing it. Karen says, I carve time for meditation after my first cup of coffee. It's generally quiet. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's getting in the routine, isn't it, Karen? It's getting in the routine and making it a part of your day, making it a part of your lifestyle. I think that is the challenge, isn't it? Is to make it a part of your lifestyle. It's just something that you do, like brushing your teeth or taking a shower, right? It's that spiritual hygiene. Rochelle says, my Tai Chi instructor calls in moving meditation. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And the Tai Chi with the gentleness of it is what I was going for. Yeah, that's good. Barbara saying hi. And let's see. Hey, oh my gosh, Dan's in the house. Hello, Guy. We'll share with the Solstiers. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, Dan. Dan is quite an artist. He's also the co-founder of the Social Distance Powwow. And I don't know if you guys have had a chance to even go and visit on the weekends. If you love powwow music, if you love watching the dancing, and educational pieces in there too for non-natives and even for natives, that's for sure. So Dan is a co-founder. He's an artist. He does a lot of beadwork and he works with wampum. I don't know if you guys know what wampum is, but it's a shell, and it's a very precious shell to a lot of natives east of the Mississippi. And yeah, well, I'll show you some of his work, okay? I'll post some of it. So it's good to have you in the house, Dan. So we're talking about the very first card for today, for this week, is meditation. Create goals with intention, right? Improvements require persistence. It's number 27 in the deck. And, that's a 9 in numerology. And it's all about completion. Completion. So, meditation is an important aspect of spiritual practice. This is what the author has to say. Proven to relieve mental stress, physical pain, and improve a person's outlook on life, meditation is not bound to religion, culture, or spiritual groups. Anyone can practice meditation, and everyone receives its benefits. And, there's no age on it. There's no age. You can meditate as very, very young or very, very old. And our ancestors, they didn't call it meditation. They didn't even call it mindfulness. They just called it quiet time, being restful, you know, to be able to be in nature even, and just to sit and be, or to walk through the woods or through the meadows, right? It's a time to slow down and to quiet the busy mind. Yeah. And for us here in modern day, that busy mind, what do they call it? The monkey mind? Yeah. It's hard to turn off sometimes, isn't it? Um, and literally, especially at night when you're trying to fall asleep, and all these thoughts are going, it's kind of like when we're in meditation. And Ortram Franklin, one of our hosts here at Star Nations, when she talks about when's the best time, because she gets asked this question a lot, when is the best time to meditate? And she usually responds that the best time happens twice a day. And that is in between awake and asleep. You're not quite awake and you're not quite asleep. You're in bed, right? And it's that in between space. And that is to be able to work with spirit while you're in that in between. So getting quiet in that in between. Yeah. And so if we have that busy mind and it's hard to be quieted, even to be able to go to sleep, it might be a good time to do that kind of meditation, to get into the habit, right? To make it a part of your lifestyle, that you go to bed maybe a few minutes early so that you can get into that quiet space, right? To quiet down the mental mind. You know how I do it? All right. So, running a corporation is not, it's not a 9 to 5 kind of job. It just isn't. So I'm busy all the time. But when I actually get into bed and I'm finding it hard to turn it off, what I do is I literally call in my spiritual team and I ask them for assistance in how to quiet my mental mind, to help me to go to sleep. And what I do is I envision, I see it. It's kind of like wiping the slate, okay? The whiteboard, and literally going from right to left and creating a blank whiteboard in my mental mind, imagining it. Yeah, that's how I do it. And then there's nothing there to look at, nothing to take in, right? And so it's easy. That's what I do. It's kind of like a visualization for me, and that's how it gets started, so that I can slip into that quietness. Yeah. And Violet saying, I've been meditating at least once a day and I'm starting to do some stretching once a day too. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You know, I actually kind of miss doing the stretches. I've been doing these stretches now for almost a month, maybe 6 weeks. And so I do them more than once a day. I have to actually do these stretches 3 times a day. So yeah. Let me tell you, self-care takes time. So we get to fit in some quiet time in there. So the author goes on to say that that meditation has been practiced for thousands of years, and that meditation can enhance relaxation, strengthen the mind, and instigate spiritual growth and self-awareness because it helps us to do that self-reflection, right? In that quietness. Yeah. You may be feeling stressed, anxious, or overwhelmed now. You may be feeling stressed, anxious, or overwhelmed now. And when I read that, I thought, oh God, that is the truth right there. Um, there's so much happening, right? Outside of our homes, out there in the 3D, between all the political stuff and the virus stuff, and there's so much happening and changing quite quickly for some people, right? And then when we get into our own homes, because we're feeling that social pressure, it puts stress. I mean, add in, a lot of parents are having some real challenges with sending their kids to school, right? There's some fear in there, and yet there's also some relief too, because being teaching your kids at home created a whole different kind of stressor, right? So we have been kind of in a compressed, almost like a pressure cooker kind of situation, right? And so meditation can be a release valve. It can help us to have that quiet space in between, that buffer in between. And so I think that's one of the reasons why we got this card today, is one is a good reminder to us to do our meditations, but the reason why we do our meditations, right, is to help us to be able to de-stress. And so our physical, emotional, and mental bodies have a timeout, right? So that we don't get we don't have illnesses on top of everything else that's going on. Yeah. All right. And then the author goes on to say, is that right now meditation holds the answer. Focus on your breath. Reconnect back to self, where you'll have more time and energy for the areas in your life that have been neglected. A form of meditation is required now for you to feel whole once again. Be aware that your mind reflects your physical world. Is your physical world balanced or imbalanced, busy or still, chaotic or calm, noisy or quiet? Physiologically and psychologically, change is taking place. Use meditation to assist in healing, health, and well-being goals, specifically to set intentions. Aid your physical recovery and influence mind mantras. Importantly, now is the time to focus on your personal health and well-being. So when you take a look at how long we have been in this massive change and upheaval, right? Do you remember back in January and February when we were just hearing about different countries going through, their problems with the virus? Do you remember that? And here in the States, when we first got it was almost like a wave going across, starting in the east, right? No, actually, it started in Washington State, about trying to contain it and try to slow it down. And so everybody was supposed to stay home. You had people not being able to go to work. Schools were closing. And that was shocking. I mean, talk about life changing, right? And very quickly. And so we've been under a lot of stress for many months, 9 months, right? This is the 9th month. And so I think Spirit is letting us know that we do have tools to help us through this. We just have to set it as an importance in our lives so that we can carve out, even if it's just a few minutes a day, right? When Karen said, yeah, after her first cup of coffee, and then she goes into meditation. Sometimes what we can do is we can take those coffee breaks or tea breaks, right? And maybe you have kids at home, or maybe you're like me and you're taking care of an elder. And those tea breaks, those coffee breaks in the afternoon, I tell you, is really helpful. Even if it only takes a few minutes, 5-10 minutes out of it, right? I go sit in the Four Seasons, and I can hear, or I can take my cup of coffee, and I can go walk a little ways out in the backyard, or in the woods next to my house, and drink my tea, and then come back in, and it's like a reset, right? And we can all do that in some shape, way, or form. I think the feeling I got from that card is that Spirit is reminding us that we have these tools, and it doesn't cost anything. You don't have to buy anything. You can be any age, you can be in any kind of health form, and still do a meditation, right? And when you do, because Rochelle was sharing earlier that she was grounded. She did her grounding today, which is yay. All of us should be doing that too. That can be a part of your meditation. First, you go through it, you do your grounding, centering, and protecting, right? And then when you're in that state, because your frequency is elevated to the frequency of love at that point. And so from that place, within a breath, you can go into a short meditation where you're just quiet. You're just quiet. That's your intention, is to be at peace, right? To be in the quiet. There's some of you might know it as the Iroquois Nation, right? The Haudenosaunee out east, made up of several different nations of tribes out there that came together to work together, right? And one of those nations is I want to say it was the Seneca, but that's not right. The Onondaga, that's it, the Onondaga. They have a way of stating this. And in a loose translation into English, it means going into the quiet, going into the quiet, even if it's just for 5 minutes. After you do your grounding, centering, and protecting, is just to sit there for another 5 minutes in that quiet. That's a meditation, right? Now you can go into another meditation with a specific intention too. You could. Maybe you have something going on in your life that you want to have some insight around, right? And to be open to what Spirit has to say is to be in that quiet. You can do that too. All I'm saying is that if you're already doing your grounding, centering, and protecting, you're already so close to being able to fit in a few more minutes of being in the quiet. Yeah. And hey, Autumn. Oh, Autumn, you know what we're doing? I pull cards once a week for the group. And whatever is being shared in the conversation, whatever feels like, oh my gosh, that I get that, that piece is for you. Okay. And so, even if you want to share your own insights with the cards, we have 2 cards today, Autumn. And this is the first one, meditation. Is that it says improvements require persistence. And how Spirit brought this card through the card draw this morning, I believe it was to help us to remember that we have this very important tool that's available to us all the time. Doesn't matter, there's nothing to buy. It's just carving out the time during our day to be able to do that, right? Violet's saying this is holding true for me. Oh, I know. I tell you. Hey, Amy Daniels is here. Hello, Amy. Good to have you here. So it's really important for our overall health to do meditations. The affirmation that goes along with this card is my mind creates a reflection of my physical world. I am at peace. Isn't that a good one? I'm going to say that again. My mind creates a reflection of my physical. I am at peace. So using meditation as a way to that pressure release valve, right? Especially if you have a really busy life or very stressful life. Who doesn't have stress, right? We're two-leggeds. We're humans. We have stress. And even if we didn't notice it, we create it. Because here's one thing that I know about us two-leggeds is we can take the most simplest thing and create it into the most complicated situation, right? And so we create our stress. But we have a way to be able to deal with that, to mitigate it, to make it better for ourselves. Because when we're in a peaceful place, we see our world much differently, don't we? We experience it differently from that peaceful place. And especially if you've done your grounding, centering, and protecting, you do experience your world so much differently. All right. So this is the first card. Now, I shared with you earlier when we first started is that we have two cards, but this is the first time I've ever had to use two different decks. And so here's the second card, and this coming out of this particular deck that we've been using for some time now. And this is Angels and Ancestors by Kyle Gray. Okay. And the second card, oh, I think you guys are going to like this one. She-Wolf, Unleash the Wild Within. Isn't that something? Now, we've gotten this card before. We've never gotten the meditation card, but we've gotten this particular card before. But I also think that this is a little bit, supporting the message from that first card, right? I'm going to bring it a little bit closer to the camera so you can really see it. Get the camera to focus. Come on, camera. Camera. I wanted to show you the face. It's so similar, right? Because some of this has to do with shape shifting. So, both the wolf and the human eyes are closed. Mouth is rather open, right? The adornment in the hair, the beads, the feathers. She-Wolf, unleash the wild within. As females, a lot of times what happens is that we have this way of not showing what we really feel or think, what we really want to do, right? Because we're usually so busy doing for someone else that it's that we put our desires, our wants, our needs kind of secondary, right? And this particular card is actually reminding us that sometimes what we need to do is we need to change that. We need to unleash and not be so restrained, right? There's some piece of being authentic in here as well. The message is let your wild side up and out. Unleash your talents and your desires. Because sometimes we hold ourselves back. We refrain, right? And sometimes it's our belief systems, right? Depending on what culture you grew up in, what town or country you grew up in. There's certain beliefs around allowing yourself self-expression, right? Yeah. And that there's genders are supposed to act a certain way or be a certain way. And other times, sometimes, sometimes we just want to be, we want to be that I'm going to put it in air quotes, that good person, right? And so we fit a certain form. It's called a belief system, right? And so if you're outside of that, sometimes you get looked at, you get pointed at, right? You get judged. And so many times what we'll do is we'll hold ourselves back. And this card is particularly telling us to let go a little bit. And you know what? Meditation can actually help us with that. How or why? Is so that we're more relaxed. We are at peace. That maybe that part of us that we've been turning off or hiding from is that part of us that is meant to be a part of our soul growth. Yeah. And through meditation, we can actually identify that. We can feel it. We can see it. We'll sense it. Right? Yeah. All right. So here's what the author has to say. He says, the she-wolf is a powerful shamanic soul who is half wolf and half woman. She is the alpha female who is not afraid to stand out from the crowd, or in this case, the pack. She is wild, unfiltered, and unfettered. I kind of like that. She is wild, unfiltered, and unfettered. She encourages you not to be trapped by the limiting factors of the weaker members of the pack or those that are trying to hunt you down because you have gifts that they don't like you using or understanding. She represents the energy of the wilderness and the unknown and encourages you to be free and unchained. Go beyond boundaries. Release the animal energy within and track down what you need to do to express your true self. See that to me, when I first read that, what really jumped out at me is to be your true self, right? To track down what you need and to do to express your true self. Yeah, and how many of us do that? How many of us track down our true self, right? What that we actually talk about, that we actually express what we need to do to express our true selves. Do we even know that? Do we even know what that is? Yeah. So, the meditation can actually help us with that too. Because when we're in that quiet space, that quiet time, we tend to be able to see things a little clearer, sometimes a lot clearer. And we're quiet enough to actually get the messages coming from your spiritual team, which is a good one. Okay. He goes on to say that you're being rewilded at this time, guided to reconnect with your rebellious heart and part of you that likes to break boundaries and go beyond them completely. Let the wolf energy within help you to track down what direction you want to go in, the life you want here. Very interesting, isn't it? That we'd get these two cards together. Now they're coming out of two different decks. And like I said, in this particular show, we've never done two different decks like this. And so, so how do they go together? Right? So in the one deck, in this deck, the Sacred Spirit reading card deck with the meditation, this deck doesn't have this kind of information in it. Right? So it tells me that Spirit really wants us to be able to get the message about being true to ourselves. And sometimes in order to find that out, in order to identify that, we need to be quiet, right? We need to be able to have that peacefulness, that quiet time, to be in touch with ourselves, to be in touch with spirit, so that we can identify that for ourselves, rather than leaning on something outside of ourselves to tell us what we need, to tell us how we're supposed to be. It's like, oh my God, holy smokes. After everybody, the entire world has experienced that huge pause, right? Where we have been, our lives were turned upside down, inside out. Some of us took that time to actually do that inner work, that self-reflection, the introspection, and some of us didn't, right? Now we're being encouraged to do that work. If you haven't done it already, now we have the time. We're actually being reminded about it so that we can find that part of us that is authentic. Maybe has been covered up, right? Because we've been so busy. Or maybe it's really shaking up the belief tree and helping you to identify what is it that you truly believe. Whether it's about yourself, about, information that's coming in from the outside, right? We got tools. We have tools. All right. Barb is saying yes. She's also saying, often I feel rejected and ignored if I express my truth. Ooh, that's another one. That is another one, Barb. It really is. Is because, okay, here's this. There's a couple things here. Is that we have to take a look at who those are on the outside of us that are rejecting or they're ignoring you, right? Is maybe they're just not ready to hear what you have to say, to be with you the way you are. And so maybe there's an adjustment there, right? Doesn't mean that you're ditching them, but it does mean maybe you're not spending as much time with them. And maybe it is doing that, reaching out and searching for who, what group, what community fits you better. Or maybe you start your own group, your own community, right? Yeah, there's that piece. The second piece is, I did a series about eldership, right? And about eldership, there is a part of that, that's called the unrecognized elder. Yeah. That the outer society doesn't value older people. And it not necessarily older. Doesn't necessarily mean it's a chronological age. Wisdom can come at any age, right? And when we are sharing the wisdom that we've gained, and many times it's in a generous way, that there's the overculture is what Clarissa Pinkola Estes calls it, the overculture, doesn't value that. And so we feel the rejection. We feel the not being recognized, right? But I don't know, Barb. I don't know. I think that there's a huge shakeup going on, right? And I think it is up to us to be able to do that expression, because we have life experience, right? That life experience comes from learning our life lessons. Sometimes going through the cosmic 2x4, right? We came out on the other side of it. And so we learned our life lessons, and in the application of what we've learned is where we gain our wisdom. And so when we notice that there's either somebody who is struggling with something that we can offer, right, a suggestion, or offer a different way of just living our lives as a mentor, right? You're just showing somebody just because you're living that way. Sometimes that's all we have to do. But yeah, I hear you. Often feeling the rejection and the being ignored. And also there's people who are feeling more open to asking too, asking questions, looking for their next teacher, right? Yeah. So thanks for sharing that, Barbara. I think I think that's going to help a lot of people. Hey, Cindy's here too. She says, "Do you think that this is related to the awakening?" I absolutely do. I do. Interstanding. Yes, I like that. Yes, I do. I do. I think that this is about the awakening. And also there's a little bit of an adjustment with that because everything is shifting and changing so quickly. That we were at the pause, the great pause, then we were in the great awakening, right? And now I think it has a lot more to do with awareness. Yeah, I think there's a whole lot of people who are awake in different ways, in different amounts, right? It's always been that way. It's just more apparent. It's just more apparent. And so when you have been awakened, that you have there comes a point where you're just really aware. You see the synchronicities, right? You start connecting the dots and maybe seeing something in a different way than you did before. Or you realize, that this doesn't fit me, like Barb was saying, that noticing that the people that you're with don't really recognize you. They don't um, they don't value you. It's like, so what am I doing here? you know, and do something about it. Yeah. So I do believe that. Um, I'm going to show you both cards at the same time. Okay. Now, for those of you who have been with me for quite a while doing the show, the last 3 months, you know that we've learned something pretty interesting about the cards is that when I show you the cards together, it's a pretty powerful moment, right? And so if you haven't done your grounding today, is just take a moment to do that while I explain this last piece. And when we're in a grounded, stable state, we can take in so much more information, both the seen and the unseen, right? And so when we get grounded and then call in your spiritual team, your entire team, because our spiritual teams are our guides, our teachers, right? Our angels, our ancestors, our power animals, our totems, nature spirits, star beings. We have a whole group working with us individually, right? And so when you call them all in, you're not limiting it just to the couple that are your go-to, right? Yeah. And then asking them to help you to take in as much of the information coming from the cards that's optimal for you, okay? And to help you to understand them, right? Okay. So go ahead and do that. And Rochelle is saying, this song helped me a lot on one level when I felt rejected and ignored. Okay, thank you for sharing that. I'm going to take a look at it after we're done with the show, okay? And Sydney says, definitely seeing the fear that MSM is pushing. Yeah, yeah. Yeah. I don't even watch it, I do get I hear it every once in a while because mom watches MSNBC. And so, I do get to hear some of that. But you're right, you get to the point of really being able to identify for yourself what is the truth, right? And that's that discerning. And when we're doing the meditations, we can actually connect with our higher self, our soul, to help with that discerning, right? So you're getting it for yourself and not from the outside. All right. So here are both cards. So asking your team to please help you to take in the information, both the seen and unseen. So the first card was about meditation, right? And improvements require perseverance. And to bring yourself into a lifestyle that includes that quiet time that we call meditation, right? And it can be any form of meditation. It can be movement. It can be sitting quietly. It can be doing stretches. And it's available to every single one of us at no extra cost, right? And the second card is She-Wolf, right? And that is about to unleash the wild within. To unleash the wild within. Supporting the message of the first card. There is this thing about shape shifting with this particular card too. And that I think that is helping us to realize that we may have to shift our being into who we really are, our authentic self, right? And how do you even know that? Well, it can come through the meditation. To unleash who you really are. Not to be fettered, restrained, right? To be who you really are from the inside out rather than from the outside in. And meditation is a tool to be able to do that. To go to that quiet place, to really to know yourself. And I think that we're going to need that individually and as a whole as time moves forward, right? And because the outside world is very chaotic, and so some of that we're dealing with because of where we live and how our society is, right? So to be able to make it through and weather the storm and all of that stuff that's happening out there worldwide. It's just not here in the United States, it's worldwide. And so the meditation can certainly help us do that. It can help us be in a more peaceful and quiet place so that we create what we see out here in the physical world. We're creating it from the inside out, right? It's a reflection of who we truly are on the inside. Yeah, I like that message. I do. And I have to say that this kind of conversation, the spiritual conversation, I just love it. I don't know about you guys, but I look forward to the time that we have together so that we can share about the information coming from the cards, much like we did throughout the entire show, for you guys to be able to make your comments and so I can show them on screen and, we can be helpful to each other, right? Just like when Rochelle shows us this link, I'm sure most of us are going to go and check it out, right? Maybe it will be helpful to someone else. So thank you, Rochelle, for sharing that. And so, if you heard or read or felt anything that resonated with you out of this conversation, my suggestion is to embrace it, and watch, sense, feel, see how the energy is unfolding around you this week and where this information could be helpful. Right? Yeah. You know what? And if it didn't resonate with you, don't worry about it. You're not going to hurt anyone's feelings. No. If it didn't resonate with you, don't worry about it. There's always next week's cards. Number one, and number two, if you stayed with the show all the way to the end, and it didn't resonate with you, maybe you're the messenger, right? Maybe you're the messenger. Maybe you're going to have a conversation with somebody that's close to you, maybe, and it's going to center around some of this information, and you're going to say, I just watched this thing with this lady and she showed these cards. Let me share you the link with you because this could be helpful to you. And then you're done. That's all you have to do. Yeah. So maybe you're the messenger. Okay. So we have the spiritual roundtable every week on Wednesdays at 3 p.m. Eastern. And so we'll be back here next week and with another set of cards, and we'll see what Spirit has to say next week and how it can be helpful to us. All right. Okay. Let's see. At Star Nations, we're always really, really busy. What we have coming up for you tomorrow is a show with Maureen Mann in Angel Therapy. And what is she talking about? I forget. Yeah, it's like totally gone. It was like right there. And she was talking to us about archangels, but I don't think that's what she's doing this time around. Hang on. Let's see if I can get the document up. It's going to take me a second. Weekly. No, here it is. Don't want to see my weekly tasks. Don't want to do that. All right. So Angel Therapy. Angel Therapy is on at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. And Maureen is going to be talking about Archangel Haniel's Healing Grace. That's coming up tomorrow night at 7. Tomorrow afternoon is Life Wisdom with Ed Langen. And his show is on at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. And guess who his guest is? Me. Me. Ed actually wants to have a chat about the Red Road, what my interpretation is of the Red Road, about my spiritual path, about the Merkabah, also about Star Nation. So come and join us, okay? It should be a good one. Where he's also going to be taking questions in the second half of the show and doing some channeling. So we'll be doing that tomorrow afternoon at 4 p.m. Eastern. And then we're doing another replay for chakra sessions because Polly Joe's still on vacation. And so we're doing a replay of opening your intuitive gifts. Yeah, another reminder for us, right? That was a really good show. I don't know if you guys saw that one, but it's a really good show. It's got lots of good information in there. And, she always does a meditation for it, a healing meditation. So hopefully you guys can join us for one of those. And Lisa is saying, I'm laying here resting with eyes closed, and it's been like a lullaby. That's good. Excellent. Told you it'll fit in somewhere, right, during your day. Okay. We're at the top of the hour. I appreciate you being here with me and being a part of the conversation. I do enjoy it. I hope you do too. And so we'll be back here next week for the Spiritual Roundtable. Until then, Bama Mina. That's Potawatomi for until we see each other again. I love you guys.